Kody doesn't feel like he can be away from the little kids at Robin's house more than 2 or 3 days at a time.
2 or 3 days? That's excessive. Well, not excessive. They should actually be able to be around their father as often as they want, but there are a ton of us that are, like, missing out on it, and we're missing out on it.
I feel like my relationship with
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Thursday, February 2nd, 2023, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Does TLC ruin families, or do families that go onto reality shows ruin themselves because they put fame and money and greed in front of the needs of the family? This is seriously a question so many of you have in my comments every single day that I upload a video. I have been so heavily focused on two families from TLC simply because of their involvement in problematic religious movements and cults, the Duggars and the Browns. Now, the Duggars are no longer on TV, but the fallout of their family continues to this day in the tabloids, with several of their kids continuing to speak out, Ginger writing books about her family, and other kids doing articles saying they are distancing themselves, and then Josh Duggar's arrest. It's been an influx of another family falling apart, and all of their dirty secrets are coming out. The same thing is happening in real time with the Browns because their family hasn't been canceled, remains on TLC, and instead of walking away during the hardest time of their lives, they're actually exploiting this, making money off of a divorce and their family demise. Now, some of you have a hard time understanding why you or anyone, why they or anyone would choose to have their lives filmed and show the hardest moments of their lives that rip families apart and putting it out on television for entertainment. It's not something I understand. It's not something that many of you understand. I think for some of these people, it's just the cycle of getting into reality television. The interesting part of reality television is that it gives people who have no actual talents, except for maybe they have a unique lifestyle, something unique in their life has happened, or the show has a character or a concept that they want to do, and that person fits into that concept. Other than that, they're not talented, unless it's a show about singing or dancing. It's just somebody just living their life, an average person in maybe in an exceptional position. TLC used to be called the Learning Channel, but today it's more like, let's put as many people as possible that have extreme lifestyles and make them famous. And let's elevate cults, okay, and help them make things legal. Right, cool, thanks TLC. Who's the fundie behind your network? I've always wanted to ask that question. Anyways, so the Browns, we have seen in real time the fallout. Now, on the show, Kody is the patriarch, and it's his show, and I'm sure the show has a contract with Kody, and he's the one that's getting all the money, okay? The kids were not paid for their time on the show, and a lot of them have actually stepped away from the show. Now, Aspen is not a part of the show. Logan will never be seen again on the show, and a lot of the older kids really want nothing to do with the show. With that said, there are some kids that are featured on the show more often than others. One of those people this past season was Gwendolyn Brown. Kody Brown, Christine's daughter, was also in some of the episodes. And you see a little bit of Robin's kids. You'll see a little bit of Janelle's kids. We didn't see Leon at all last season. So some of the kids really have cut off the reality show from their lives. With that said, some of them continue to film, maybe because they're around and they're living with their mom or their dad at that time. Maybe they, don't really care about the intrusive factors of it. And some of them are starting to realize, hey, maybe the show is being a little bit exploitative. And hey, maybe the show is actually ruining our family. Well, two of Kody's daughters with Christine have made some comments publicly about this, and I wanted to just share this with you because I thought it was an interesting take. So Gwendolyn Brown recently uploaded a video onto her YouTube channel where she actually stated that she felt like her sexuality or coming out as bisexual was exploited by the network. She also sort of felt that like her parents' divorce was being exploited. Now, in Patreon, which I'm not going to show you the clip, but I saw this in a video where McKelty basically said that she felt that the show ruined the family and that she would never do a spin-off with just the siblings, nor would Aspen, and that it's an intriguing thought about following the kids and getting the kids' perspective, but she doesn't want to be on a show because she truly feels like reality television ruined their family. So let's dive into today's topic and dive a little bit more into this. Gwendolyn Brown says TLC is exploiting my sexuality, and this divorce, and McKelty saying the show ruined our family. Before we dive into today's topic, please give this video a thumbs up. Also, please subscribe to my channel by clicking the button down there. Make sure to ring the bell, click that bell, click notifications, and set them to all so you never miss a video. If you have something to say, please leave a comment. And as always, share this video with your friends. Okay, so here's the deal. Gwendolyn Brown has a Patreon. She's reacting to the series season 17 in real time. She's never watched this series really. This is like the first season she's watched in years. And then she's filming herself react. She's putting together the video of her reactions with tiny clips of the video from the show. And then she also does some Q&As at the end where she answers questions. So at one point in this latest episode that she's reacting to, it's the one where they go visit Janelle with the RV, and then it's also the one where Christine talks about Gwendolyn's sexuality. Something I think that's really kind of bizarre about this whole situation is that TLC definitely wants to make someone's sexuality a topic, probably because they're fundamentalists. And so for fundamentalists in many of these communities, the LGBTQ plus is not accepted, and they're very homophobic. At the same time, if I were the person, so say it was my child, or say I'm the person that's gay, I think it would be really weird for my mom to talk about their thoughts about my sexuality and how they knew that I was gay. But they didn't actually have the same conversation with Gwendolyn. Do you see what I'm saying? So Gwendolyn said that she was doing an interview and she believed that she was going to be talking about her parents' divorce. But instead, the producers asked her to talk about her sexuality. So her mom does this whole thing, and Gwendolyn, by the way, doesn't seem irritated by this. If it were me, I think I would be irritated, but that's just me. She's not irritated the way that her mom's talking about it, but she was kind of irritated with the producers and their line of questioning. Check it out.
I'm bisexual.
I'm a comedic genius. I looked so mad in that moment, and I wasn't even upset. I was just like, oh. I was a little disappointed, you know? I thought we were going to talk about the divorce, and all of a sudden they're like, we're going to talk about your sexuality, Gwendolyn. We're going to, they're like, oh, we have another queer. We're going to exploit that. We're going to make ourselves famous. I'm sure it's not, but it did feel weird. They also had me talk about my autism here too. I was like, that's weird. I thought we were going to talk about my parents' divorce.
We've had just great conversations.
So here is what she says, the producers just told me that we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about your sexuality and we're going to talk about your autism. She said she sat down and she was going to talk about the divorce and she thought she was there to talk about the divorce. And they're like, no, we're going to talk about your sexuality. What I don't like and what I'm hearing there is that she's put in a position where she has to talk about something, but it wasn't a discussion of, do you want to talk about this? It was, we are going to talk about this. I don't feel like anyone, when it comes to their sexuality, should be forced to talk about it. I don't think it should be a storyline unless the person wants to talk about it. I think it's really awful for a producer to tell someone who's young. She's not, she's what, 21 maybe? 20 when this is being filmed? And then you're going to talk about this on a national show, regardless of if she wants to do this. And I'm sure she's already sitting down, and so she's going to talk about it because she has to. And it makes me realize that when Gwendolyn came out, the first thing that she said, Robin said to her, was, you should have saved that for the camera. So when Kody and Robin figure out that she's gay or she's bisexual, we're going to exploit this for the show. Gwendolyn didn't spend a lot of time in this video really expressing the fact, other than she felt like they were exploiting her. But I do wonder if she were to go into more depth, what that would actually feel like. Like, what does it feel like to have your family members exploit your sexuality for their show, for their profit that you don't actually gain from? What does that tell you about your place in their family? Are you actually a valuable asset to them in that you're you're loving, you're kind, we love you, we care for you, or are you just a storyline? Oh, this will be good for ratings. When you start reducing someone's sexuality to ratings, you remove the human out of the situation. I would hope in the future that productions aren't like this, and I would hope there would be an openness between people on shows where they say instead of we're going to talk about this, it would be, can we talk about this? Nobody should be forced to talk about their sexuality unless they're ready and that's what they want to do. It shouldn't be well, your dad said, or this said, or you should have saved it for the camera. It just makes me feel really sad for her. And she didn't seem overly upset about it, but the fact that she even said she felt exploited, it is exploited. It is exploitative. And I'm sorry that your family did that to you. I'm sorry, Gwendolyn. So one of the things that McKelty was talking about in her Patreon is she interviewed Aspen. And so in this interview, they did quite a bit of back and forth where she asked Aspen, about the show. And Aspen really didn't say anything about her dad. Didn't mention him at all. And didn't say anything negative about him. Just so you want any tea from Aspen, you're not going to get it. When they talked about the show, though, McKelty was very honest where she said she felt like the show actually ruined their family. What I think has happened in a lot of these families, and why I think you can't just blame the show, I think you blame a system that takes and exploits people that have been in poverty. So McKelty says Dad's goal with the show was to get us out of poverty and to help us have more money and also to help legalize polygamy, okay? Or to decriminalize it. So he wanted an out for his family where they made more money. So TLC can come to a family and they're really exploiting them, if you think about it. They have no money and they really want an out of that. So you sign a contract with a network and they're like, all right, now that we've signed this contract with you, now your whole life belongs to us and we can edit you in any single way that we want to. And oh, by the way, you can't share things on social media. You can't talk about spoilers. And if you do, we'll sue you. And if you do anything to harm the show and do anything openly to go against the show and you talk negatively about the production or blah, 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 we'll sue you. And by the way, you can't post things ahead of time. You can't post things in real time. We're going to control your whole lives. And it comes down to we're going to show up when we film. And then, by the way, the final edits, you don't get any control of. It's like a deal with the devil because in one way, yes, it offers you a way out of poverty. But in the other way, you don't have any skills that you're actually taking from the show. So you're not offering to them that I'm a skilled musician or I'm a skilled dancer. There are shows like that, but in this case, it was literally a family just that had plural wives and lived polygamy. That was it. This show didn't give them any more trades. They didn't learn any more skills. And so the show then becomes their trade and their skill. And so without the show, they end up with this unhealthy dependence on the show. They need to be on the show for money, but then their family becomes a commodity. So everything about their family becomes ratings. And so the family starts looking for ways to get better ratings. So what are things that get ratings? Babies, divorces, marriages, family fights, trips, surprises, pranks, and so your whole family becomes an opportunity for ratings. And I would believe that that would create a very unhealthy dynamic within a family because your family then becomes a business and your family becomes an asset that the patriarch in this case wants to protect at all costs, which means he's going to want to control what things are said about him on the public. He also was going to control the kids and what they post on social media. It happened with the Duggars. And it's also going to create divides and make those that are not getting paid feel powerless because they think, well, my whole life is being controlled by this damn show and I don't see any rewards from it other than the fact that I'm famous. I have no money because of it. I don't have any assets to show for it. Everyone knows all of my business because of it, and all it did was make my dad wealthy and rip apart my family. And it's the cycle that it just repeats itself over and over and over again. And now for the sister wives, regardless of what's happened, they can't leave because they have so much debt now and so many liabilities that they need to sustain a level in their monthly income to afford their lifestyle. You know, it's hard when you first come into money or you start making a lot of money, because I think it would be easy to start spending the money as fast as you make it. I think what a lot of these reality stars need are good, solid financial advisors or people that can give them solid advice for investments and saving their money and finding resources and ways to create a trade so that if the show were to end, they're not screwed. What I think is going on with the Browns is the show is going to end and then they're going to end up in a financial disaster. And Kody picked greed over his family. So he's exploiting his daughter's sexuality because he's literally the name of the contract for the show. He's ruining his family. He's exploiting his divorce. He's verbally abusing his children. And it's entertainment for us, but it's their lives. And I don't know what I would think about if that was me. What do you think? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. Bye, guys.